All right, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about an amino acid you've probably never heard of, but your body absolutely can't live without: proline. And trust me, it's not just some simple building block. This thing has a wild story. Think about this for a second. What is it that gives your skin that firmness, keeps your joints moving smoothly, and basically powers your body's entire healing process? Well, the answer to all of that, in a huge way, is proline. It's this unsung hero working behind the scenes, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and see just how incredible it is. Okay, so first up, let's talk about proline's most famous job, being a master architect inside our bodies. This is really where its story begins. So what's the big deal with proline? What makes it so special? Well, unlike most other amino acids that have these, flexible chains, proline is different. It's got this unique, rigid, five-membered ring. And that structure is everything. It literally forces a kink or a bend into protein chains, kind of like a permanent elbow joint. It's not a flexible rope, it's more like a fixed angle connector, giving proteins their very specific, crucial shapes. And just how important is this job? Get this. Proline makes up a whopping 10 to 15% of all the collagen in your body. Now, when you remember that collagen is the single most abundant protein we have, it's your skin, your bones, your tendons, yeah, that's a huge deal. But here's the thing. It's not enough for proline to just be there. To build strong collagen, it has to go through this critical transformation. An enzyme comes in and converts proline into something called hydroxyproline. Now, this step is absolutely essential for creating that stable triple helix structure that makes collagen so strong. And, this is the key part, it cannot happen without vitamin C. That's it. This is literally the reason a lack of vitamin C causes scurvy. The collagen just falls apart. Yeah, to put it simply, proline is a critical architectural element that enables the complex three-dimensional structures essential for life. Without it, our body's entire framework just wouldn't hold up. But as we're about to find out, proline's job doesn't stop at just being a brick in the wall. All right, so now we're going to move beyond proline the brick and look at it as a dynamic, metabolic multitasker. And believe me, this is where the story gets really interesting. Because you see, proline's story doesn't end with structure, not even close. It turns out this humble little amino acid is also a powerful decision maker inside your cells. It's a signaling molecule that tells them what to do, especially when things get stressful. Just look at the resume on this thing. Proline helps balance the energy books inside your cells, managing what we call oxidative stress. When times are tough, say you're not getting enough nutrients, it can be burned as an emergency fuel source. It flips the switch on survival pathways to protect cells from damage. It even has a say in how our brain cells talk to each other. It's a true jack of all trades at the cellular level. But all this metabolic flexibility brings us to the most complex and maybe the most fascinating part of our story. We're talking about proline's paradoxical role in disease, especially in cancer. This is where it really shows its two phases. Yeah, a really great way to think about it is Janus-like, named after that two-faced Roman god. Because when it comes to something like cancer, proline can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So here's how that split personality works. On one side, you have the pathway that builds proline. Cancer cells can actually hijack this pathway to fuel their crazy growth and even resist therapy. It's like they're stomping on the gas pedal. But on the other side, you have the pathway that breaks down proline, and this one acts like a brake. It can actually trigger cancer cell death, a process called apoptosis. It is a stunning, just mind-blowing example of how the very same molecule can have the complete opposite effect, all depending on which metabolic road it's on. Okay, so after all that, with proline playing all these incredibly important roles, how do we make sure our body has enough of it? Let's switch gears and get practical. Let's talk about our diet. First off, there's a key term you gotta know. Proline is what we call conditionally essential. What that means is, yeah, your body can make its own, but under certain conditions, like if you're healing from an injury, you're under a ton of stress, or during periods of rapid growth, your internal factory just can't keep up with demand, and that's when getting it from your food becomes absolutely critical. So where do we find it? Well, the absolute best sources are those collagen-rich foods like bone broth and gelatin. No surprise there, right? After that, meats, dairy, and seafood are also really good sources. And for plant-based options, things like soy and legumes have proline, just in smaller amounts. So, when do our bodies really start screaming for more proline? Well, healing from an injury is the #1 driver of demand. But things like aging, intense exercise, and periods of growth or chronic illness also seriously ramp up your body's need for this amazing little building block. And listen, this is a super important point. Getting enough proline is only half the battle. Your body needs what we call cofactors, basically helper nutrients, to actually use it. We've already hammered home the non-negotiable role of vitamin C, right? But other nutrients like vitamin B6, zinc, and copper are also key players that support the enzymes that make everything happen. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's tie all these threads together and wrap this up with the big picture, what I'm calling the Proline paradigm. If you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Proline is not just a building block. It is a master integrator. It's the molecule that connects a cell's metabolism, what it eats, with its signaling, how it communicates, and even its epigenetics, which is how it expresses its genes. It's like a central command hub for cellular decision-making. We've really followed its whole journey, haven't we? We started with its role as the architect, building our body's framework. Then we saw it as a multitasker, managing our cellular energy. And finally, as a powerful regulator, deciding cell fate in both health and disease. And that's where we'll end it. This humble little molecule, one we thought was just a simple brick in a wall, is actually one of the master regulators, a foreman running the whole construction site with incredible complexity. It really makes you wonder, what other massive secrets are hiding in plain sight right inside our own cells?